From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in London. We're all taking a breather from the hurly-burly rollercoaster ride that is Ashes cricket. Tell you what, I've been at Wimbledon as well, so it's been a busy time of it. I've loved the tennis. Also managed to catch up with some family members this week in the break. So if you're ever in London and want to visit the Wallace collection, I highly recommend it. They've actually got a portrait of dogs exhibition at the moment, which suited me because I love the animals, and learnt a lot about Edwin Landseer. A bit of culture for you on a start of a Stumped programme. But yeah, been lovely to just take stock, have a pause and wait for the action to all begin again.
I'm Clint Wheeldon for the ABC in Perth, where we're enjoying school holidays at the moment. You talk about a bit of culture, Ali. I took the kids to the WA Museum, which I highly recommend if you're ever in the West. And it's also been magnificent for those of us with small children to get a little bit of sleep, considering that the Ashes, as you say, is in a little bit of a break. There's lots to look forward to, though, but it's been a really good week over here in WA.
Hi, and I'm Sunil Gupta for Akashvani in New Delhi. And the talking points really in India have been two, actually. One is the new coach of the Indian women's team, which has been suffering from a lack of continuity in coaches. It's Amul Mazumdar, one of the premier Ranji Trophy batters who never ever played for India, despite scoring over 30 centuries in Ranji Trophy and being, as I said, one of the highest scorers. So that's Amul Mazumdar. And of course, the debut of Yashasvi Jaiswal in the India-West Indies Test match, which is being played currently. And the thing about Yashasvi, if you don't know, is that he actually sold on the street. He sold snacks for a living and lived in the tents on the Maidans of Mumbai till he made his big entry into cricket. So that is the type of background that he had, the fighting instinct that he brings to cricket. And I certainly hope that he will do very well in Test cricket.
Well, it's good to have you with us, Clint, for this one, standing in for Jim. Now, last time I spoke to Jim, he was on a train up to Scotland, so expect to hear a few stories from him on his return. Now, it is 2-1 in the men's Ashes and all to play for at Old Trafford next week. We'll talk about that and Headingley in a moment, but we're recording the show in the wake of a thrilling finish in the first of the women's Ashes ODIs, where England have staged a comeback, having won 3 white ball matches in a row to keep their series alive. We've spoken so much, haven't we, about the dominance of Australia as the reigning 50 over and T20 world champions. And when they kicked off the multi-format Women's Ashes series with victory in the one-off test match, they took a whopping 4 points, meaning England had to win 5 of the last 6 remaining games to win back their trophy for what would be the first time since 2015. Remarkably, after losing that first T20, England have roared black and inflicting 3 consecutive defeats on Australia, who are also Commonwealth Games gold medalists, remember. The first time, Clint, that Australia have lost 3 matches in a row across formats since 2017. Now, they just need 1 win from the last 2 ODIs to clinch the trophy. England have got to win both. They've got momentum with them. Did you see this coming, Clint, after the test match?
No, it is an Ashes series, so we should never, ever put it in your back pocket until the series is done and dusted. But you're absolutely right with those 2 wonderful performances to start with. You thought the Australians would be able to just get the 1 more that they needed to. Wonderful fight back. We know how good England can be. Heather Knight the other day, fantastic with what she was able to achieve. But even then, that's coming off the back of Beth Mooney's unbeaten 81, with Australia putting on, I thought, 8 for 263 was a really solid score. So credit to England, I would say, and I think the Australian bowlers would be aware of this too. Perhaps they need to be a bit more disciplined than they have been. Something like 17 wides in that game. They wouldn't be happy with that at all. But we know that they are where they are because of what they've been able to achieve for a long period of time. And I'm still confident that they can get one of the 2 wins that they need in the last 2 one-days to get them to retain the Ashes. Who knows? But you're absolutely right. It's been a terrific fight back from England. And just like we're seeing in the men's, some brilliant cricket all around.
Well, if you look at the men's Ashes, and I'm sure you've talked about those, Australia had the momentum after 2 wins, right? And they lost at Headingley. So, yes, momentum is a good thing to have. But remember, cricket, you're playing in different conditions every time. right? You're not playing in the same basketball court or the same tennis court. I mean, conditions are different. And the other thing is that, exactly as Clint said and you said, that Australia are not used to losing. And I think that the type of fighting spirit Australia have always demonstrated, I think that's going to come back now. 17 wides, okay, that's something that they're going to tick and say we're not going to do that again. That's a big number of wides, not just the number of runs, but the number of extra deliveries. So it's not that they could not have won this. It's just that they played some loose cricket. So I think momentum is a good thing to have. England will be feeling, yes, much more chipper after these victories, but they will know that Australia, when they're down, they come fighting hard, and that's what they've got to guard against.
Yeah, it's one thing there that the wides, I mean, there are a lot of missed chances in the match at Bristol, certainly. And on both sides, they can tighten things up. So I think both teams will look to up their game when they next meet. The thing which really is going in England's favour is the crowd support, isn't it? I mean, the fact that each of the ODIs has been completely sold out. Tickets have been made affordable. That's getting people in. I mean, sometimes you go on social media saying, oh, there's only crowds because the tickets are cheap. People have still got to buy those tickets. They've got to make the effort to get hold of a ticket. They've got to make the effort to go. And it's showing that people are wanting to. And in all the time that, I've been following the England women's team abroad in this country in particular, crowds like this, it's absolutely unprecedented for an England women's series. World Cup 2017, yes, for the final. But I mean, this has been a huge marketing campaign off the back of the successful 100 tournament as well, which has elevated the England women. But yeah, the crowd is certainly being referred to as their 12 feet, and that could yet have a big energy for the England team when they have come up with these last two ODIs. Lots of action still to come, so I think a lot of people can't wait to see just how it's going to unfold. So what of the men's Ashes? Well, that too is finally balanced going into the Old Trafford test match next week. It's 2-1 to the tourists as we head into the fourth test. Now, a drawn series, just to remind you, means that Australia would retain the Ashes urn. England need to win both of the last two tests to win it back. So, Clint, with this little break before we go into the last two matches, it does seem a good time to sit back and have a bit of reflection. So how have you found this series following it from afar as an Aussie, and what have you made of the way that Pat Cummins has been leading the side as well, because he's had some questions asked of him at times and he's had to contend with his team being at the centre of a big controversy as well, and that's a word you don't often associate Pat Cummins with.
It's been brilliant, absorbing. It's been as good as you would ever hope for from any series anywhere, and I think that continues a trend of recent Ashes series in England. I'm thrilled that it's 2-1. I mean, obviously, as an Australian, I'd like it to be 3-blot, but it keeps the series alive. And every single session has had something happening. It's been impossible to look away. I've loved, and I hope I don't lose my citizenship for this, but I've loved what Ben Stokes has been able to do. He is just a cricketer that you watch whenever he's at the crease. It's impossible not to like Mark Wood. And we saw the troubles that express pace can cause any batter.
Great, wasn't it?
And then, it's breathtaking when you see someone who can consistently deliver a cricket ball at 150 kilometres an hour. We got a little taste here in Perth at the most recent, the T20 World Cup, to see him bowl live. But to see him be able to do that consistently in an Ashes test, and then just when it looked like maybe the Australians had wrested back the initiative late in the third test, that little cameo that he put on as well to prove what he could do with the bat. He's an impossible cricketer not to like. But having said all that, love that Usman Khawaja's continued to do what we've hoped that he's been able to do and has won over so many friends with what he's done out in the middle. I think what Pat Cummins has been doing has been terrific. He's had to shoulder a huge workload. I understand, and I was, again, the same in the first test. I wondered about the fielding positions. Why weren't the Australians on the front foot as we tend to see Australian cricket? But it worked. It was look, this is our plan B as such. We will try to contain England and we will get ourselves in a position where we can win the test match. It's not always going to work, and let's not take anything away from the opponents, who are a brilliant cricket team. So, yeah, we've had two successes which could have gone the other way and one loss that also could have gone the other way. So I think some of the criticism that has gone around against Pat Cummins for the fielding positions, I understand from a fan point of view, but I also can see what he's trying to do. I think it's been an absolutely brilliant series. I was without going over old ground, bemused by the whole hoo-ha about the Bairstow incident. But I guess I say that as an Australian, if you're going to be a bit dozy, you deserve to get punished for it. But other than that, that's added a bit more spice to these proceedings, and I think that's not necessarily such a bad thing. So all things considered, with a few things hopefully that never happen again, it's been brilliant to watch. And we like a history lesson, as every English cricket fan like to give us before going into Leeds about what happened last time. Let us remember what happened last time after Australia lost at Headingley, and then, of course, we headed back to Manchester. Let's not forget that one either.
I remember the scenes well at the end of the 2019 Manchester Test match of the Aussie celebrations. Sunil, what have you made of it as a neutral, if you like? Because you've got two very contrasting styles of Test cricket in a way. England taking this all-action approach, and Australia a bit more of the traditional Test cricket style that's produced 3 absolutely cracking matches.
I tell you, we've been riveted, absolutely riveted. I'm acting in a play right now, and we were supposed to be having a rehearsal on Sunday, and rained very heavily in Delhi, so that rehearsal was cancelled so we could actually watch the game. I was so happy about that. But let me tell you, as a neutral, I think the Ashes, they're the Ashes. It is something that we look forward to even in India. And you asked me about, what sort of approach and so on and so forth. We've been talking about baseball, the Australian approach. At Lords, they were outfoxed completely by that bouncer barrage that came through. And I felt exactly what Clint said. Mark Wood, why wasn't he playing? Why wasn't there a top-notch spinner?
Not quite fit enough.
Well, there you are. But why not a top-notch spinner? Fair enough. Throw Rehan Ahmed into the mix, right? It's a big match. Let him show what he's made of. You can't go in with a part-time spinner. I mean, at Headingley, I know Todd Murphy, he bowled brilliantly in India, really well. But at the end of the day, even he's a youngster. This is the Ashes, his first Ashes Test match. And Nathan Lyon wasn't there. Had he been there, who knows what might have happened, right? So I'm saying those are the little margins that I think each captain needs to look at. But in whichever way you look at it, whether it's Cummins, get down, really get down and get your teeth into the game, or whether it's the way that Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum have made this team in their own avatar, I think it is going to be riveting. Just one last point about Bairstow. Now, at the end of the day, it's not just the catches, it's the stumpings. As a keeper, one of your key responsibilities are the stumpings. If you look at the Carey stumpings, the way that he executes them, and Bairstow has missed 2 or 3 very key stumpings. Those could have been the margin of, now I know you're emotional about Bairstow. He's done very well in the previous year, but he's not fit because he had that terrible leg injury.
I think losing Nathan Lyon for the series is an enormous blow for the Australians. We've seen his ability to wrap up tails quickly, which is they missed. And I think Todd Murphy's going to be a very good bowler, but he hasn't had the experience that Nathan Lyon has had. He just isn't the bowler that Nathan Lyon is. And I reckon that's a key. I'm not saying it's as dramatic as when Glenn McGrath stood on the cricket ball and the impact that had, but nonetheless, losing Nathan Lyon, I think, has been a huge blow. And you talk about being brave as well, Sunil. There's a moment here with the Australian selectors. Will they be brave and decide on what is generational change? Does David Warner keep his spot at the top of the order? Stuart Broad has absolutely got his number. We know that now. 17 times he's dismissed him in Test cricket.
Well, the Netherlands have done it. They have qualified for the Men's Cricket World Cup for the first time since 2011. They've made it ahead of the likes of West Indies, Ireland and Zimbabwe, who are all full member nations of the ICC. The Netherlands, for example, only have one full-time coach on their staff. Now, we reflected on the demise of West Indies cricket and their failure to qualify in last week's show, so you can listen back to that online. The Netherlands sealed their place in the tournament in India next October with a thrilling win over Scotland, chasing down the target they needed inside the number of overs required to qualify on net run rate and breaking some Scottish hearts in the process. We're joined now, though, by a member of the Netherlands team for whom reaching this World Cup is even more special because of the fact he's originally from the host nation, India, and he played a superstar role in a particularly famous win during the qualifying tournaments as well. It's mid-order bat Teja Nidamanuru. Teja, welcome to Stumped and congratulations to you. Can you put into words just what it means for you and your teammates to have made this 50 over World Cup?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, guys. Look, I think we've put a huge amount of work leading into the World Cup qualifiers, and to be able to be sitting here now knowing that we're going is something that we're extremely proud of. Obviously, we played the West Indies in May. Actually, I made my debut against them in the Netherlands, so we kind of had a small taste of obviously what was going to be coming at us, given this particular game in the qualifiers, and we felt very confident and fully prepared. Obviously, they batted very well and got to 370, and the pitch, the pitch was playing well, and we felt that there's no reason why we couldn't go about it, and we had the chase broken down into certain parts and different stages that we'd like to be at. Yeah, to be able to pull that off, and the high of it, the way that Logan played, especially in the Super Over, and the way that he bowled, is sensational. And obviously happy to contribute towards the team there, and to be able to contribute through the middle, which was also amazing. And for us as a group, I think it's the highest score that we've ever scored, and the highest chase that we've ever chased. So there was a lot of milestones achieved for our group as a whole, and yeah, look, it was celebrated well, but obviously we knew within the tournament we went there wanting to qualify and wanting to win, and the coaching staff and the players were, we had a really nice evening, and we kind of turned our attention to the next game. So yeah, look, I would say at about 24 hours or so, the next day, I think a few of us were still thinking, that was amazing. But we knew that, we can play that brand of cricket, and we do have the skill to be able to, compete with the best in the world. So yeah, in some senses, it's just really good to see the work coming through.
So how will it feel?
Yeah.
Tell us about the emotions, you're going to go through coming back to India to play as a full international cricketer. What's going to go through your mind?
Look, I think, my granddad, unfortunately, who's passed away a few years ago now, but he's the one who kind of started me really early in my, as I was growing up in India. He's the one who kind of bought me my first bat and always threw balls at me at home in my first few years. And look, my mum, my sister, and my grandma, and part of my family is living in India, and being able to come back. They live very close to Hyderabad, actually, so where the first two games are against Pakistan and New Zealand. So look, I think that it will be look, it's something that I'm really looking forward to, and it'll be a very proud moment. And I think, as life goes, there isn't necessarily a straightforward way for how things work out. And many people have many different stories and different ways things get done. And I think, I'm part of that, basically. But I'm extremely proud to be going back to India to play. And I'm extremely excited to experience what Indian cricketers experience, which is like nowhere else in the world, where the fanfare or the type of support that they get and the overall atmosphere is also not compared to elsewhere in the world. We got a brief taste of that in Australia at the T20 World Cup, where I didn't play, but I was part of the squad. We played India at the SCG. It could be a single and there would be a roar. So I can only imagine what 60,000 at Bangalore or, 65,000 in Bangalore is going to be like. So, yeah, look, I think it's something that all of us as a group are looking forward to. But, yeah, for me especially, to be in front of my family and to be able to go back to the place that I was born and to be able to play there. Look, it's something that I am looking forward to, and I'm very excited about, for sure.
Teja, we would love to catch up with you, I'm sure, during the World Cup, if that's even possible. But yeah, congratulations on making it, and your journey is a fascinating one. So well done, and good luck for the preparations, not least leading into the World Cup. Now that is all we've got time for on this week's Stumped. So I'll say thank you to Clint Wheeldon and to Sunil Gupta, and of course to all of you. Make sure you join us again next week. Bye for now.